Hey guys, welcome back to RH Jen. I'm so glad you're here. Guys, I have such a good show for you. We're continuing on with Betrayal. Today we're on chapter 32, The Brand. This one is so juicy. I'm just going to be covering this chapter because we start out going into the big fat flop at Netflix, talking about Meghan's lack of direction with her show at Netflix, and then we're gonna go into the over here, the Sophie being awful to Dr. Sophie on stage of it all at Sentebale, the polo match. We're gonna get into all that and so much more. If you're new here, I'm Jen. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the thumbs up, and leave me comments, as all of those helps YouTube to recommend my videos, and I sincerely appreciate it. Now, in case you missed it earlier today, I did put up a video about Meghan's weird social media post, so go back and watch that about the kids and the Easter and all that, and I also showed what the Wales family were up to. So again, check that out in case you missed it, but let's get into Betrayal. Now, you might be asking yourself, where is Cantankerous? Oh, don't you worry. Cantankerous is here. Cantankerous, what do you have? What's that? That is the Sentebale trophy. Over here, over here, over here. That's right. I'm going to use him for the reenactment of that trophy. Oh my goodness. It's like every time I think Meghan can't get worse, she's like, hold my trophy. No, she would not let anybody else hold her trophy. She's just like, hold my beer. I got this. I'm going to show you how bad things can get. So today I dressed like Polo. In case you're new here, that's something I've started to do, is dress on theme. So I've got pictures I can show you of Meghan and Dr. Sophie at this polo match. So here is my I'm time stamping it, so I remember to add it in. Here is my attempt to go polo. So I wore the white, got the high neck. I thought about, let's see, hold on. I can do this. Look, there's my cutout. Meghan had a cutout in between hers. Okay. Anyway, let's dive into the chapter, shall we? All right. So this one is chapter 32, The Brand. Let's talk about it. So if you're new here, what I like to do is an overview of the chapter, and then I'm going to go into some of the quotes and some of the craziest parts of this chapter, because like I say, this one was juicy. So the big thing to take away here is Tom Bower is going in, and it picks up on page 283 if you're reading along in the book. Tom Bower really goes into the beginning of the part of this chapter is about Meghan's lack of direction and skills with Love Meghan. Just a lot of no clear ideas, it sounds like, no clear path for the show. Not really sure what she's going to do. And just knew that she wanted to get into where Gwyneth Paltrow was popular at this. So many celebs are doing this sort of thing. She wanted to get in on that. So it's like saying, I want to be rich. Okay, but can you tell me more? No, I just want to be rich. I want to be a celebrity. Okay, but what are your ideas? I don't know. You figure it out. It seems to be that kind of thing. That's how I'm understanding it. She really doesn't seem to have skills that she can demonstrate. Her planned lifestyle brand, she wanted to have, of course, with Love Meghan. It was supposed to be a cooking lifestyle show, but it kept getting delayed, rebranded. It would get quietly shelved. A theme that Tom Bower talks about a lot in this book with both Harry and Meghan is they are, it sounds like, chaotic and unorganized, which goes along with everything that we've heard about them. I always think about the lack of signatures on pages, things that don't get done, trademarks that aren't quite right, deadlines that don't get met. It seems to be a lot of that going on behind the scenes as well. And it reads as chaotic. I mean, I understand that new businesses are, but you want to maintain a level of, I don't know, professionalism, calm, whatever it is. They can't seem to do it. Everybody can see that there's a lot of weirdness going on here. Beyond that, it goes into, she wanted to be seen as a lifestyle guru and an entrepreneur, but it's, again, her lack of focus. She has no discipline or actual talent to make any of it successful at all. It feels, we get that vibe of like shallow, and she loves to say authentic, but it's very inauthentic and entitled, I think. And so that's what people are reading, and they're uneasy about it because of those things. So we go into that, and then the chapter goes into over here, over here, over here, the polo match. A lot about how rude Harry was to Dr. Sophie, and then how Meghan got in on that with the on stage of it all. So I'll remind us all of that. I've got pictures and video on that. But again, the overall chapter is about the broader, the more broad damage going on. It became like this incident, for instance, that over here is symbolic of how those two operate. They're self centered, they're entitled, they are demanding, they are willing to push people aside for their own personal glory. I mean, hell, we've seen Meghan do it to Harry constantly. So there's that. Bauer showing how this kind of behavior combined with their constant victim narrative and the wars that they're in, whether it's in court or with the media or whatever's going on, it makes people, it makes corporations, it makes donors, all of it distance themselves from anything to do with these two. So, and then he goes into the fallout, how it obviously this incident it contributed to the growing rift between Dr. Sophie, and it ended up leading into a very public boardroom battle with Harry, and he left Sentebale. I think it was not long after that. He doesn't go into that in this chapter, but that's where we're headed. So I'm going to get into all that. I want to talk about the hypocrisy here. Meghan's preaching female empowerment. That's something I really want to talk about. She's preaching female empowerment and lifting women up. Yet she's publicly ordering around a highly accomplished woman, Dr. Sophie Chandauka, like she's an assistant. So she could stand next to Harry and look important, talking about Meghan. So she could potentially, this is my fake award, so she could hand out the award. And so again, she's always preaching one thing and doing another. She has the opportunity. Why is Meghan up there to begin with, is my question. Dr. Sophie is a board member. She has every right to be up there. What is Meghan doing up there? Meghan's ordering her around, and it made Dr. Sophie went on record afterwards to talk about how uncomfortable that was. And Meghan just has no self-awareness. She's preaching this women empowerment, and then when it's time to show that, to follow up with your actions, she can't do it because it's all just lip service, in my opinion. It's all just words. None of it means anything to Meghan. But of course, the controversy to come out of this is that over here moment went viral. And luckily, most people saw through it as rude and entitled. Now, after this, Harry allegedly, according to Tom Bauer, I believe Tom Bauer, was demanding that Sophie set the record straight and basically stand up for Meghan. And Dr. Sophie, I love her, was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Meghan was rude and entitled. Why would she stand up for Meghan? So I just thought it was a really juicy chapter for all these reasons. Now, I'd like to go into some of the quotes from this chapter because there's some good stuff here, and I just want to talk a little bit more in depth on some of this stuff. So again, picking up with 283, it's believed that Meghan would, quote, present herself as more than a domestic goddess. More than? Because that would imply that she was a domestic goddess to begin with, and I don't think she's that. Quote, I had thought about the interest that people seem to have in my fashion, what I would wear. So she really thought her fashion would play a big part in this. And I'm thinking, gosh, like, again, show us you're delusional right there. I know it shows you're delusional without showing you're delusional because nobody's interested in your fashion. Nobody. I can't make sense out of that. That she sees herself and thinks she looks so good. Everybody wants to dress like that. Nobody does. Nobody. I can't make sense out of it at all. She talks again about the high low is brought up. If you don't know what that is, that's something she talked about. It doesn't even matter. Before on her show, where she pretends like she's wearing something that's expensive and then something that's less expensive or high in, I guess, value or low, but I don't believe it. I think sometimes for show, she'll pretend to wear something not as expensive, but in her mind, expensive equals better. So she's just going to wear a bunch of expensive stuff. I just think that's, of course, she would believe that. That's so out of touch. That's not how real people live or think. I don't believe. All right, continuing on, that her big thing that Tom Bauer gets into is, quote, she was trying to make something, here's the quote, that won't be accused of writing on the back of anything royal. Okay, except for you okay, it might say with Love Meghan, but Duchess of Sussex is listed in there. So using the title, and think about the dumb, I mean, they were all dumb episodes, but that dumbest one was the one with Mindy Kaling where she's like, it's Sussex now. I mean, everything is writing on the back of something royal. So what are we talking about? Again, words and actions never match. She says these things because she thinks it makes her sound, I don't know, like humble or something, but her actions aren't matching. So everybody can see through her as fake and phony. She classified herself as an entrepreneur rather than an influencer. And again, I'm making this face like, what? How are you an entrepreneur? Nothing's working. I don't understand how that makes you an entrepreneur. Yeah, she had access to money. I don't know if she still does, but I believe she did have access to money. That does not an entrepreneur make. And then she goes into not being afraid to talk finance, talking about women specifically. Now, this was something I covered at length. She's also said on her one of that female, the confessions of a female flounder, or no, of a female founder, women shouldn't be afraid to talk finance. And I said at the time, and so many people have said, women aren't afraid to talk finance. We've been able to talk finance. This is a thing that we do. The rest of us are talking about it. It might just be you, Meghan. And so you think that women are afraid to talk about it. She's taking problems that don't exist and then making problems out of them. It's truly bizarre. It's so out of touch. It's weird to see. And so Bauer, of course, points out that it's not a challenge for women. Females were chief executives of the world's biggest corporations, including Glaxo, Diego, General Motors, Accuture, things like that, plus pharma businesses, media conglomerates, hospitality chains. So women are in business and finance and everything else, and we can talk about it. It's just you that doesn't seem to realize that. It's just bizarre. Trying to create a problem. Okay, so on 284, Tom Bauer reveals that this with Love Meghan was actually 70 plus crew that of his crew and staff. So you tell me you had 70 plus people working on this thing and that's what you came up with? Nobody stood up and said, hey guys, balloon arches are not innovative. This is nothing new. If you're a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine like I am, you understand that Raymond Holt has been a fan of, oh, I miss him, has been a fan of balloon arches forever. So what are we talking about? That's not new or innovative. But seriously though, 70 plus people crew, I knew that there was a lot. I didn't realize that many. And it sounds like she was more worried to make sure there was she had everybody vetted to make sure they were all pro Harry and Meghan. They weren't told what they were working on, just they were pro Harry and Meghan. Okay, again, where are your priorities at? That's what you're worried about. You don't realize that you have a garbage TV show that's condescending and boring and lacking basic skill. I don't even know what it was supposed to be, a cooking show. No, because you don't learn how to cook anything. And it's just not anything that most people want to cook. The only interesting things were when she'd bring on like a celebrity chef. And even those were mostly boring. There's probably two that I thought, okay, I want to eat, his or her food. But other than that, there just wasn't much. I mean, we've been over it. There wasn't much to see there. You can see my whole coverage of the show. There's not much going on there. But she's always focused on the wrong thing. And again, therein lies her problem. She's so busy talking about things like packaging and stuff for products, or in this case, in the show, it's about chopping things. That does not an interesting show make. Nobody wants to see that. I can't. I don't know. Again, 70 plus crew, and that's what they came up with. Meghan is alleged to have made people sign NDAs that were going in. The 70 plus crew. Okay. Sure. Why not? Again, weird priorities. Okay, let's focus on that and not that you have a complete disaster show with no plot and condescending and boring. But okay, yeah, let's have him sign NDAs. Let's see here. Oh, he goes into how she does have a love of good food, but it was with her first husband that she toured restaurants across the world looking for new culinary experiences. The quote here is that she could not cook. So that doesn't shock any of us, I don't think. Her limit was, quote, roast chicken and hamburgers. And then I started laughing and thinking about, well, roast chicken. Don't Google it. It's gross. And also hamburgers, because I covered that on Patreon. That video where she's trying to be sexy in jean shorts and cooking hamburgers and like, ooh, hamburgers. But like in short jean shorts and then sliding around like, And then people are like, aren't you a vegan? Didn't you yell at a cook or something or a chef over eggs in one of your wedding dishes? Aren't you supposed to be a vegan? Sure. All right. So continuing on, it's a lot about Meghan's indecision. And because of her indecision, filming would be delayed. Meghan had failed to appoint a chief executive. I forgot about Her Mama Knows Best. That's the company name, her Delaware registered company. And that's how she sold her jams, cutlery, nutter. She's going to try to sell, not nutter, nut butters. Easier for me to say. Things like that. And Bauer was saying the reason she couldn't find anybody is because nobody wanted the job. Nobody wants to work for them. And again, can you blame them? Because even in real time, we're still seeing big staff turnover. And also, not to mention, this chapter is going to go into the horrible treatment, not that Dr. Sophie's staff, but of anybody in their orbit. They're horrible too. She was completely confused over what identity she was trying to project. That was clear in everybody who watched it, but also clear, I guess, behind the scenes. Of course, it started to be American Riviera Orchard. And this was interesting. I thought this was a great homework done by Tom Bauer. Okay. So she supposedly, remember she made those 50, I'm cringing. That's why I do this when I cringe. Okay. Remember when she pretended to make those 50 jars of jam? Yeah, me too. And she was handing them out on social media. Oh God, it's so cringe. Okay. So with that, Tom Bauer talked to some manufacturers and figured out that, quote, she would need at least 100 pounds of strawberries. Her garden strawberry beds did not appear big enough to produce 1,000 strawberries. Since her jam proved to be unusually liquid, that's putting it nicely, gloopy, I believe is the word you're looking for, and contain few berries, it is just possible that the fruit was grown by Meghan in Montecito. So he's trying to give her an out. Like maybe that's why it was so gloopy. Maybe. But probably not. It's probably just cheaper to do it that way. That's just my guess. But he points out that she would not volunteer the truth because she and the truth have no relationship, and manufacturers wouldn't volunteer the truth. Okay. So this was interesting. So again, with those 50 jars, not only were people asked to post them, which was funny because how many, we ended up only seeing like what, 10, 11, something like that, actually do the post. So I'd like to know who the other people were that did not post. They were all asked to praise the jam on social media. And if necessary, they were allowed to quote, it just says, with a snippet of gossip, scripted if necessary by Meghan's publicists. I'd like to know what those were. I'm thinking about Meghan in those terrible interviews she's given before where she pretends to drop some big, like, behind the scenes things. And she's like, I like to play Wordle. And you're like, no, you don't. That's not anything. Like, that's just reads is so false. That's what I got from this. Like, is that going to be the Meghan likes to play Wordle? Now get her jam. Like, what is that supposed to do? That's not, to use some words of Meghan's, that's not authentic or organic or anything like that. Okay. Just a reminder, she did say this jam is my jam. God. All right. Moving on. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, lots of Meghan stepping on people's toes. That's when she launched the American Riviera Orchard. I was hoping Tom Bauer would go a little bit more into that. And he really didn't. Just that she rushed out the announcement. Shocker. It was to try again because um, William walked on the stage. Meghan then launched it, trying to release herself as a lifestyle celebrity. And then, of course, because of that, she drew mixed reactions. I'd say that's kind. I wouldn't even say they were mixed. I'd say most people said that that was tacky because she even stepped on Doofus's toes there. She doesn't care. She just wants attention for herself. So sure. Hectic telephone calls. Now, he didn't say from whom to whom. I assume from Meghan to Netflix. Hectic telephone calls persuaded Netflix to bring forth the announcement of their two new television series. So they weren't ready to announce, but because she jumped the gun in order to try to get attention away from Prince William talking about his mother, who she loves to cosplay as, she decided to announce early and convince Netflix, okay, fine. We can go ahead and announce two new TV series, Meghan's show and Harry's Polo show. Oh God, I want my life back. I watched both. They were horrible. I watched one episode of the Polo show. I couldn't. And I've said before I was out on surgery. So literally anything would have done. And I used to cover Real Housewives. So it takes nothing to entertain me. Nothing. But that's how boring this show was. It's not just because it's Harry. I honestly figured Harry had little to do with it. So I thought it might be interesting. I might be able to see how these rich people live or, like a hobby I know nothing about. I've talked openly. I'm into sailing. That's my weird hobby. So I love it. I'm into it, but I also understand that it's a very niche thing growing up in Florida that I've had access to that not a lot of people do. But I think it's interesting to watch. And I would say same with Polo. I know nothing about it, but I'll watch it. Just make it interesting. They couldn't do it. They could not do it. I don't know how you make a super wealthy people sport boring, but congratulations, you did it. I don't even know if I finished the one episode I watched. Anyway, um so Meghan was looking for anything to try to steal attention. She made this announcement, and because of that, got Netflix to push out their announcements early. And it just seems like I think it would have already flopped, but it added to the floppage. So know that when she's jumping the gun and making these announcements, she's really, I mean, she's hurting herself, and it's funny to see because that makes me feel better. All right. So let's get into this polo match because I know that's what we want to talk about. All right. So it was 12th of April. Listen to me, very British. April 12th. 12th of April when Sophie was holding this Sentebale Rolo, not Rolo, Royal Polo, hold on, Polo. Where's the name? Let me try that again. Sentebale's Royal Salute Polo Challenge charity match in Palm Beach. And earlier, so in January, Meghan had refused Dr. Sophie's invitation to the match, saying she had a previous engagement. Well, less than 24 hours before the match, Harry decided to announce that Meghan would attend. They're thinking she did that because she had jumped the gun on these other announcements and she needed to be there and needed some footage for, since they pushed up the Netflix stuff, she needed some footage. So probably that. But Sentebale, meanwhile, was having big problems go on, and her sudden decision exacerbated the charity's problems. That's what the focus was there. And so during that time, Harry sounds like he was just being a complete, you know what, to Dr. Sophie. Dr. Sophie wanted to move the organization to South Africa. Harry agreed with that decision, but Harry is an idiot and doesn't understand how anything works. She's trying to run things and explain to him, well, it's fine, we can do this, but it's going to take time. We have people working in different spots. We have to give them fair notice and, treat them fairly, all this stuff. And he was like, no, I want to fire them right now. And she literally says to him, quote, you can't just shoot off. Employees have rights and our image would suffer. And Harry is incapable of understanding anything. And this is where it comes up. The quote here is Harry doesn't tolerate no. And I think that's funny because he might, I mean, yeah, I agree. He seems like an entitled, selfish prince prick. And but then I would think though, again, living with Meghan, he must get told no all the time on everything. So there's that. All right. So continuing on. This polo match for Sentebale was meant to be held at Santa Clara Polo Club, which was near West Palm Beach. Well, Harry then decides, no, what we're going to do is we're going to move the location because it should be filmed for the Netflix series. And the original location, that Santa Clara place, said, I don't mind if you use our area for a charity game, but you're changing the rules and it's becoming a commercial venture. You can't use our pitch for that. So he was like, fine. So he called up his friend, Mark Gonzi, who's a Florida billionaire. Hi, Mark. Call me. Called him up and got him to agree to let them use this polo club in Wellington. Now, again, you might think, okay, Harry's doing something to help. No, Harry's making it about Harry. Harry's making it about Harry and Meghan. It's all about this Netflix thing. It's supposed to be about Sentebale. It's not. By doing this, it caused them to spend an extra £100,000. Now, it doesn't say who paid that. I would love to know who paid that. Did Sentebale have to foot that bill? Did Harry personally pay that? Because he should have if he's insisting that it moves. Why would you put the strain on the charity? Oh, no, it did come back up. I was thinking, like, did he pay? No, that was the thing. Chandauka complained that he never paid it. So there's another guy involved here. His name is, I know his last name's Tucker. Andrew Tucker. Okay, he's the global organizer of polo matches. He's up to here with Harry as well. He's saying the same thing. Harry never paid it. Tucker's irritated because Harry's just doing these things and picking up and trying to move things without going through the proper channels of what you're supposed to do. So Tucker objected to the additional work of changing the venue. He objected to, he didn't want anything to do with Netflix whatsoever. And he's incandescent because Meghan is coming and Meghan ruins everything. He knows that the sponsors and some of the players, according to him, would object to her presence being there. The quote is, some might even stay away. Meghan also jeopardized his relationship with Prince William, another of Tucker's clients. But Harry expected Tucker to, quote, fall in line. So I want you to see the theme here. It's not just Meghan that's awful. Harry's just as awful. He's doing these things and just expects people to fall in line. Or what? You'll go to the media that you pretend to be afraid of? What? What are you going to do, Harry? I wish people would just tell them no and to piss off. I really do. I don't understand why everybody bends to them the way they do. Chandauka presented... Okay, yeah. So she got up and she talked. She was being enthusiastic about the new move to South Africa. And Harry eloquently endorsed the new journey. Tom Bauer points out at this point he was still on his best behavior during this. But then, as you can imagine, it all goes to hell. Here comes Meghan. She's walking on, quote, 5-inch those fancy shoes across turf. Meghan brought Serena Williams, who lives nearby. Meghan greeted Chandauka, but then immediately turned her back on her. And this is where we get this really weird scene where Meghan is ordering champagne and ignoring that there's a long-standing sponsor there who is this whiskey company, and she's demanding an ice bucket. So there's this whole scene where Meghan's publicist is ordering people around because somebody says we don't have those. polo match. We don't have ice buckets. We're not serving champagne. So Meghan's publicist allegedly, the mood changed and the staff, quote, barked their imperious demands, and Sentebale's event manager stood paralyzed. Tears began to flow. You heard, snapped a Meghan staffer. So they ordered them to go out and buy an ice bucket instantly. So again, I'm asking, why are people jumping too? Now, I feel bad for the person in tears, and I get, I mean, it sounds like they just didn't want to create a scene, but I mean, seriously, anybody that didn't sign an NDA, can you just pull out your phone and record that? What's going on? Do they, I mean, I know they sign NDAs, but come on, Tom Bauer got this information. Somebody had to have known all this. That's awful. Can you imagine? I'm sorry, if they don't have champagne at that event and you want it that bad, you either bring it with you or you do without. That is ridiculous. There are times where I want a Coke Zero and places only have Pepsi. I'm not going to bark at them. Oh, I want Coke Zero because I'm a human being. That's not how human beings act. All right, so this is where Harry's team wins the polo match. Okay, so as usual, the winner would be presented with a cup. This is not Dr. Sophie, by the way. This is just a willing participant. This is cantankerous. Okay. So they have the cup. Dr. Sophie stood on the small platform expecting that she would perform the honors, as she is the chairwoman, and been involved in this thing for years and has handled all of this. Of course she should present it. So she's standing there thinking she's going to present it, but Netflix's director, quote, vetoed the scenario. Suddenly, Meghan appears. Meghan appears, putting herself next to Harry. Meghan told Chandauka, quote, to move down the line, out of the picture. Harry looks puzzled. Well, how can you tell? Harry always looks puzzled. Meghan then repeats the order. Chandauka immediately understood after that. Okay. So then that's where we get, I'll put the picture up here. Hold on. I'm just writing myself a note. Okay. So Chandauka is seen awkwardly having to duck under. Sorry, cantankerous. Duck under. This whole time I'm thinking, and I still think I'm right. I think it's because Meghan doesn't want another woman to stand next to Harry. I think that's part of it. There are allegations that Meghan wanted to be the one, of course, Meghan wanted to be the one to hand out the trophy. I don't even think that's alleged. I think that's a fact at this point. She wanted to be the one handing out the trophy. Dr. Sophie believes that she was moved because it's belittling and because then she thinks she can be cut out of the picture if she's off to the side. And I was like, oh, I bet you're right. I bet you're right. Because we got pictures. Let me put another timestamp. Okay, we got pictures of this one where Sophie was cut out. You're probably right. It's for the Netflix of it all. Can you imagine? You work your face off. You get all the stuff done. You're single-handedly trying to, or with the board, trying to save this charity, as we've seen Sophie do. Sounds like for years she's been working on this. And you have to put up with Harry. We all have people we work with that suck, that we don't want to put up with. But you're having to put up with Harry, and then this. I give Sophie all the credit in the world because I think I would have lost my mind on that stage. Like, enough of you. Talking about to Meghan and to Harry, honestly. So Meghan's smile never faltered. She was bursting with theatrical laughter, it's described as. She presents Harry with the cup and the kiss, and Chandauka was cut out of the shot, just as she thought she would be. Meghan then headed over to her $8,000 suite at the nearby Four Seasons Hotel. The organizers were told that she would not be going to that evening's dinner. Oh no, I'm sure everybody was so sad about that. What will we do? Oh no. How will Harry cut his steak? He can't cut his big boy steak without mommy there. Ugh, God. Let's see if there's anything else to this part. Okay. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So the following day, okay, cantankerous, thank you for your service. Thank you, cup. Let's move you. So the following day, as you can imagine, the news was, let's put cantankerous right here. He'll just sit here in cantankerous. He's sitting in the gold cup. Let me show you. There you go. All right. So the following day, as you can imagine, I'm looking down at my notes in case I keep meaning to say that. Okay. As you can imagine, the news was erupting because of this. Well, because of that not even little, because of the obnoxiousness of Meghan, the news went nuts and Meghan's publicists got scared. Allegedly, Meghan was horrified. I'm saying, does she care? I mean, it's like the least bad thing she's ever done. She's awful. But to deflect criticism, Harry ordered that a call is made to Dr. Sophie. Quote, "We want you to issue a statement to rebut the trolls." Trolls being the people, that's not trolls. People that are calling out, hey, it seems like Meghan was an ass to Dr. Sophie. That's just people with eyeballs. That's common sense. That's not trolls. Chandauka was supposed to say that she was, quote, not pushed aside by Meghan. I'm saying it like that because it says the Duchess. But Chandauka recalled it was unpleasant and imperious, and Chandauka refused. Quote, "We cannot be an extension of the Sussexes PR machine," she replied. "I didn't sign up for PR mitigation for Meghan." If you didn't love Dr. Sophie before, think about that. She's the only one that seems to be able to stand up against those two, and I think that's brilliant. Good for her. That's for Archwell. You should have thought of the consequences of Meghan coming. Oh, I love Dr. Sophie. Harry was outraged. Chandauka's refusal represented gross disloyalty and was damaging to Meghan and Archwell. Okay, no, that's not Dr. Sophie's fault. That's Meghan's fault. You can't act like that and then blame somebody else for damage to Meghan and Archwell. Maybe your wife shouldn't act like that, and then there wouldn't be damage. Apparently, or allegedly, there was WhatsApp messages that went back and forth. Harry got mad and messaged Dr. Sophie, quote, "What's it all about?" Chandauka left a long reply that laid out everything she was feeling and that she was not part of the Sussexes machine. Harry's staff had treated her and the Sentebale team at the Polo field like, quote, servants. And if he wanted, he should find another chairman. Ooh, good for her. Unexpectedly challenged, Harry told Ashley, somebody that was helping with this, to pursue peace. Chandauka included her media assistant in the Zoom meeting. She decided that Harry would not be given an excuse to malign a Black woman. I love this so much. At the end of the conversation, Dr. Sophie believed an equilibrium had been restored. She was mistaken. And that's how the chapter ends. It's so good. I meant to put the Post-its over them. Hold on. There we go. Better. It's so good. I love this book. But seriously, I mean, if you weren't sure that they were jerks, be sure. I know you know. They really are. They're the worst. I just wanted you to see that. And again, they're preaching things like racism, but accused of being racist toward this woman that was doing all the work and trying to carry everything behind the scenes. And they were being awful to her, ordering her around as if she's a child or a dog or an animal of some sort or whatever, or just beneath them. Hello, sexist, racist, all the S words they like to throw out, they're demonstrating in one fell swoop. So now I need you to chime in and let me know your thoughts on all this. This was such a good chapter. I really enjoyed it. Again, this was chapter 32, The Brand. The next chapter is also a thick one. I haven't read it yet, but we'll be covering Nigeria. So I'll have to find like a boob cutout dress so I can wear it for a school function, right? Good God. But I can't wait to dive into that and so much more. A huge thank you to everybody for being so lovely and supportive and for being here with me on this. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on all this. You can leave me comments on how much we love Dr. Sophie. Leave me comments on how much you're loving the book or anything that's on your mind with this. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts. This was so good. I really enjoyed this and I'm glad to be back. and I'll keep going on these chapters as quick as I can. And this was chapter 32, and I believe there are 40. Yep, 43. So there's still ways to go, and it's juicy. I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for being here. And leave me all your comments, all your thoughts, and everything else, and what you think of my polo outfit. Shall we go play polo? I always talk about, I love the brand Polo, Ralph Lauren. I do. I just love that brand so much. So, I've never been to a polo match. I've never seen a polo match except for that dumb show that I watch. But any excuse to wear polo, I'm in. All right, that's going to do it for me. Let me know your thoughts. Have the best day. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Ready? Hi. Thank you, Cantankerous. You're welcome. Can you imagine going to, hold on, I gotta take a sip of my drink. My throat is still. Sorry, I'm trying not to gulp in the microphone. My throat is still driving me crazy. Can you imagine going to a spouse's work thing? And let's say they're receiving an award. And instead of just, good job, honey, whatever, you get up on stage, you shove the boss out of the way, and you're like, no, I get to give him the Employee of the Month award or whatever it is. No, that's up to me. I get to do this. And it's not even that. It's not even specifically for Harry. It's for Harry's team. So what if your partner or whatever's team has done really well, and you're like, okay, boss, get out of the way. I'm going to present this award. It doesn't make them look good. It doesn't make you look good. And it's going to tick off people in charge, and it's going to spook people away from wanting to be involved in the business. How do you not realize at every turn that your optics are terrible? Absolutely terrible. And if you must film for Netflix, fine. But why does it have to be this specific event? Is it so they could kiss their own rears and look, I don't know, altruistic or something because it's a charity related event? That's what I suspect. I don't know. Oh, they really are sickening, aren't they? All right, let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for being here. I truly hope you all had the best day. I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this. Take care. Bye-bye.